Sure, we have our Ron Howards, our Brett Ratners, and our Steven Spielbergs who actually make movies for the masses. But everybody has that favorite little film of theirs that they could watch over and over again, regardless of what anyone thinks about it. Well, what makes a cult movie, and how does it happen, and is it a conscious effort? We've brought in the experts. It's time to get into it in The Loop. Before the break, we asked you a very simple question. We wanted to know if you thought Nacho Libre will be a lasting cult classic, and 62% of you said, hey, bring on the culty, chewy goodness. Well, joining us to lend their expert voices to the cult movie nerd debate is Jeremy Coon, producer of Napoleon Dynamite and the upcoming Sasquatch Dumpling Gang, Chris Gore, G4's resident film geek, and amazing hair model, by the way, Chris. Fantastic today. And Tommy Pollata, the producer of Waking Life and the upcoming A Scanner Darkly. Gentlemen, welcome to The Loop. Now, Nacho Libre's coming out. People are wondering, will it be a cult smash like Napoleon Dynamite was? Jeremy, you produced Napoleon. Yeah. Tell me, what do you think? Do you consider Napoleon to be a cult film?
I don't personally. I mean, we didn't set out to make a cult film. I mean, to me, a cult film has to be, you know, it kind of fails at first, and Napoleon to me is part of the mainstream now, so it might have been has cult elements, but I've never really considered it a cult film.
Well, when you say failing at first, do you mean like box office numbers-wise, or?
Yeah, just like to me, a cult film is more about a sense of discovery, and like the sense that like you feel you need to share it with all these other people, and like that kind of sense. So, like what Napoleon got at Sundance and stuff like that, as it got a slow like platform release. But I mean, so many people know about it now, and it's sold so many DVDs. It doesn't really seem like a small film anymore.
Well, see, it's interesting. I think some people would assume that because everybody's wearing Vote for Pedro shirts, that is a cult following. Tommy, what do you think? Do you think a movie has to have critical success and make a lot of money at the box office? If a movie does that, can it still be a cult film?
I think a cult film is really about the sort of connection that the audience has with the film. I think like Star Wars is a good example of a film that has longevity far beyond when it was released. And it's really about that connection with the audience. When people are sort of quoting it and acting out the characters in the movie, I think that has cult status.
Wait, so you think, I want to get this correct here because Chris Gore looked very pained by this. He looked like he was passing a stone, actually. You believe that Star Wars is a cult film?
Yes, I do.
Chris Gore, have at it.
Look, I don't know if it's a cult film, but Star Wars is definitely a cult. I mean, considering that in Australia, Jedi is a religion, it's definitely a cult, especially if you've been to the Star Wars conventions like I have. But I don't know if it's a cult film. I mean, it's so far-reaching. I think a good definition of a cult film is one that's not as widely known. I mean, I agree with Jeremy. You know, tanking at the box office definitely helps. In fact, I hope my big fat independent movie, which tanked really badly at the box office, becomes a cult film. But no, I really think it's a smaller movie that it's kind of like being part of an exclusive club. And Star Wars is a very, very big club.
Well, do you think early box office success, do you think that matters when it comes to a cult film?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I mean, look, I think it's got to resonate with a small group of people. That's what it is. When it resonates big, like Napoleon Dynamite did, I mean, that was a surprise success. No one expected that movie to do what it did. I mean, it's and it crosses all barriers. Kids, adults, everybody loves it.
Well, Jeremy might have expected that, I think. Well,
yeah.
In fact, Jeremy, with you got Sasquatch coming out very soon. Do you want that to tank at the box office so that maybe it can be a cult film, or is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I want. No, like, remember looking for like. You just want people to embrace the film. We make films because people want to do it. So it's kind of like we make the film, and like you don't really have any control over how people respond to it.
So it's not important to you at all if a film becomes a cult classic, so to speak?
I just want it to get embraced and people to see it. That's the priority. If that means it becomes a cult film, that's awesome.
All right. Well, Tommy, Philip K. Dick, I mean, he's got a huge cult following. When it comes to like A Scanner Darkly, do you want that to flop at the box office so that it can be a cult as well?
No, you always want to connect with an audience, and as large as an audience as you can. But when making Scanner Darkly, we made it sort of thinking about how it was going to be viewed, 10, 20 years from now. And I think that right now when you're making movies, a lot of people are only thinking about the opening box office weekend. And I'm really interested in making movies that have longevity.
Now, how does that affect the way you actually go about making the film, though? Because is there a way you can produce or direct or write a film so that it has a big opening weekend and then is forgotten in 5 months?
Well, with Scanner Darkly, we use an animation process that gives it a sort of evergreen quality, so it's going to be hard to date it. And just in dealing with the production design and music, we kind of did things that sort of kept it away from the timeliness of right now. And, hopefully will sort of lead to that evergreen quality.
Oh, so there's no Taylor Hicks title theme song to Scanner Darkly,
Correct.
is what you're saying.
Correct.
I'm sorry you lost my Fandango pre-order. I got to apologize. Chris Gore, The cult film that everybody, I mean, it's kind of a cult film before it's even out. Everybody's talking about it. Sam Jackson, Snakes on a Plane. Is it possible to have a film be a cult classic before it's even released, or do you think they're going to screw this one up?
Well, first of all, I don't think they're going to screw it up. I think that Snakes on a Plane is going to be a blast. It's a movie that I plan to see at a drive-in where I can actually, bring in a little case of beer and check it out and have fun. Have more fun with it. But look, it's something that's manufactured. You can't manufacture a cult film. Studios are trying to do that with this. I mean, I can't wait to see Sam Jackson throw around MF at Snakes. That's going to be awesome. But you can't manufacture a cult film. And when studios try to do it, it fails. And you look at a film like, I'll throw one out that no one remembers, Hudson Hawk. That movie tanked at the box office, resonated with no one. It's not a cult film.
Well, Jeremy, are you excited for Snakes on a Plane here? Because it seems that, as much as we say the studios can't manufacture something, it seems that they almost have, right?
Well, I couldn't think of a more film more exciting. Jared Hess, director of Napoleon I, that's all we talk about is Snakes on a Plane, because I think it's going to be the big hit of the summer. I mean, like Samuel Jackson said it best. He didn't read the script. He's just like, you either want to see it or you don't.
Well, and now, why is that? Is it because of the buzz on the internet, or is it because you feel like this is going to be a cult movie, you want to get in on it?
I mean, Sam Jackson maces a snake on a plane. Like, in and out of itself is the reason why I want to go see it. I mean, the trailer looks ridiculous. I mean, Chris said you can't manufacture it. I'm not sure if the filmmaker is totally aware of what they're making, and that the studio was like, crap, we have this terrible film, but we can market it this way and make it work.
Sure. Now, Tommy, I think we've done the Snakes on a Plane. I want to talk about Jack Black for a second, because this is a guy that I think has almost become like a cult movie icon. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I agree with it. I think he's he's connecting with an audience in a way that not a lot of actors are.
Now, can you make a cult film simply by putting Jack Black in it, though? That's the question.
No, but I think he probably tends towards those roles.
Right. And finally, I got to know, Snakes on a Plane for you. Are you going to see this movie?
There's a movie called Snakes on a Plane?
There is, and it involves snakes on an actual plane. I mean, you've obviously heard the buzz. Do you think they'd manufacture this?
I think it started out organically, and then I think they encouraged it.
Right. Chris Gore, you want to get Jack Black in the next... is there going to be a sequel to My Big Fat Independent Movie, or...?
I can tell you probably not, but Jack Black's next movie with Michel Gondry is the one I want to see, where he goes to a video store and his brain erases all the tapes.
Right, they have to recreate all the scenes, right?
Yeah.
It sounds awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much for chiming in on this issue. We really appreciate it. Thanks to Jeremy, Chris, and Tommy for keeping us in the loop.